It is showtime. Ooh, we got a pretty good crowd in here already. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and I made it my mission to help you own it. Interesting day today, obviously. We just saw, we reacted to Netflix earnings yesterday, and it was absolutely incredible to see how much that had sold off. And I mean that in the best possible way. I think that the reaction on Netflix, it was pretty crazy, and we can talk about that as well. But today is the big day, baby. It is Tesla earnings day. We're going to get into all of that. I also have a special guest who's going to react with me. I'll bring him on in just a minute. But as always, guys, I also want to stress that I don't know what happened. I know that this is a different starting five than there was before, but we're just going to go with it, okay? We got Jeff Bonica, Jonathan Schreiber, housekeeping, John Goss, and Fernando Pereira. What's up? You guys are starting five revised. I don't know what happens if I schedule a live stream early and then I come back on to go live, then my original starting five disappears. I don't know why it does that sometimes. It's YouTube. It's not my fault, people. I apologize. But if you guys were not in the starting five, it's probably because you're not subscribed or you are not hitting that notification bell. So make sure you hit that notification bell, as I do this every day of the week. Wow, that's a lie. Sunday through Thursday is when I go live. Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time to cover the week ahead and what my expectations are. And then Monday through Thursday to go over market reactions, whether it is something happening in the market that day or it's earnings like today. We have all kinds of stuff going on. So this show is also brought to you by the Chaos Crew. If you could hit the join button next to subscribe, or go to ownthechaos.com down in the description below. Each and every morning, I put out a watch list for you guys to love and enjoy. And one of the big winners lately was Lululemon. The stock had an absolutely monstrous breakout from its cup and handle pattern, and we talked about that yesterday, but there's been a lot of other good ones as well. Marathon Oil hit another 52-week high. This has been something that I've been championing since December, and our Chaos Crew now is up over 100% on Marathon Oil since just the start of the year. An absolutely incredible move. The stock is still moving right now. If you guys want access to that watch list, again, go to the join button next to subscribe, or you can go down to ownthechaos.com. Would love to have you guys as a part of the crew. It only costs $4.99 a month. It's literally almost the price of gas. You can buy a gallon of gas, or you could join the Chaos Crew. Take your pick. And honestly, it pays for itself. So you have that as well. All right, guys, what's going on? So as you guys know, we have Tesla earnings. We don't just have Tesla earnings, though, as well. We also have United Airlines, which is going to be very interesting considering what we learned from Delta. Is that also going to carry over to United? We'll certainly be finding that as well. And then we have Alcoa, an aluminum play. The materials company is set to have some pretty monstrous numbers as well. So we're going to be reacting to them too. And to help me react to some of these earnings, I have none other than Don Fromm. What's up, my man?
What's that, man? I'm just replying in the chat right now. Everybody, hang on. Yes, Jeff. Target is hot. It's rocking and rolling.
Yeah. Target's moving. All the big box stores are. Target, Walmart,
Costco. Yeah,
unbelievable.
Except Bed Bath and Beyond. I think that's what it was. Someone asked me to pull up the other day, and I kind of expected it to be up, and it was just nothing. Nothing to show for it. I was like, well,
yeah, they're still reporting losses, so it's
they still suck.
It's not good. Yeah, it's not good for Bed Bath and Beyond. So, bro, I mean, let's just get right into it. So, we have Tesla's earnings. The expectations is $2.26. Revenue is going to be around $17.8 billion. And so, this is going to be very interesting. Some of the, I guess, things to address here is the China issues with Shanghai and the shutdowns there. Is that going to carry over? I don't think it's going to necessarily impact the quarter that they're reporting on, but you can imagine that we're going to see some sort of guidance that's going to be given, and we'll hear about the impact going on in China. But also the other thing here too is that during the quarter that they're going to be giving guidance on, we saw that the Berlin factory had opened up. Texas is now open as well. I'm wondering if we're going to see some sentiment kind of offset whatever was going on in Shanghai. But then also, I'll get your thoughts on that first. But there was something else that I also wanted to bring to everybody's attention. a competitor that maybe people haven't really thought about, and kind of like tying it into what's going on with Netflix. So before we get into any of that, give me your overall thoughts. What are you expecting from Tesla after the closing bell today?
Well, I'm expecting to either congratulate Jimmy Bieri here
Yeah.
on his puts, or say, hey, maybe focus up, lock in some profits for you, YOLO those profits. He's in a bunch of puts, I guess. I want to know what strike. Let me know in that chat. He's been chatting up about how he's short Tesla. He's bragging about it, and honestly, after a move like that, I'd be closing it down.
Yeah.
As far as my opinion on all of it. Who else said it in the chat? Case Law, he says, here we go. They're going to beat on some made up news. We just want to hear them lie in the guidance.
Just a lot of Tesla haters today.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'll fight every one of them too, as long as it's pay-per-view. It better push up. Man, who did you say the competitor was?
Well, I was gonna lean into that, but I kind of wanted to get your overall thoughts on what your sentiment was going into this afternoon in general.
Well, I sure hope it pushes up because after Netflix, if Tesla pulls a Netflix,
Yeah.
I think that's going to create just a gravity in itself, and things market wide might start selling off. Personally, I'm not into shorting like yesterday. So I swung Netflix, not yesterday, the day before. It pushed up most of the day, trailed it, tagged out, called it good. I don't like call it a tinfoil hat theory. But if it sells off all day, I'm not buying puts for an earnings play. I don't know. Tesla to me isn't a big mover. Love the company, love everything about it, but it's the big day. I think is delivery days, because now we're going to see the guidance. We're going to see how much margin there was. Which one did they sell? Full self-driving, or did they sell? I don't really have it, but a base model version with no margins. Hopefully the guidance is awesome. Shanghai's open back up. But yeah, 2 new factories ramping up. Should be rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the Optimus bot comes on and does the earnings call and tells the humans to settle down because they're already taken over. I think that would be bull case.
Yeah, apparently there's some rumors that Elon's going to be on this call, which is going to be interesting because he had stressed last year that he wasn't going to be on as many, maybe once a year. And he was on a call last year. And it turns out that he went on Twitter, apparently saying that he was going to be on today's call. So that would also be interesting. If Tesla there's Netflix, and you can kind of see how Netflix is kind of dragged down a lot of tech. And what Don was talking about is, if Tesla shits the bed, just like, Netflix did, it's going to bring the rest of the market down with it. There's a lot of people that have fear around, slowing of growth. Now, I'm of the camp, and I mentioned this yesterday, that I felt as if, and we saw this last quarter even, that Netflix kind of stands on its own as far as, its vulnerabilities, I should say, and its relation to growth. Netflix was a pandemic play. No matter how you want to shake it, it was a pandemic play. Whereas something like Tesla definitely is not a pandemic play. So I think that there's going to be a different dynamic here. I'm leaning towards being bullish on Tesla going in the earnings. We have it being down right now. This is a 5-minute chart. It's down around 4.7% going into the close. A lot of times, when you see a stock sell off like this, it almost gives me a little bit more confidence, right? Like if I'm seeing something close at the high of the day, that kind of makes me a little bit more nervous going to earnings. I feel a little bit better about Tesla going into these earnings with it kind of being down on today.
Real quick, can we pull up my chart real quick? Just show my screen.
Yeah.
For 2 seconds. Just want to give where's that? Snookaroo. He said, "Damn, Don hadn't thought about Tesla tanking, huh?" Get out of here. I'm prepared for there's always 2 sides to the coin. You see that magic yellow box? What do you think was going to happen? We ran into there. I'm glad we saw some sellers. But I just had to address that. Could it tank? Yeah. And here's the obvious thing. That kind of looks like a giant bear flag. Bear flag or reversal. Here's the expected moves for the week. That's what market makers priced in for an earnings play. Jake, we see Jake here in the chat. He even came in this morning and said, I think an iron condor would be the play. And I have to agree. I did sell some put spreads on this. If it pushed up, I was going to sell some call spreads. I don't expect much, to be honest. The thing is they have to come out swinging for the fences. They got to be batting 1,000, because if Tesla beats, is that really a surprise? Like, they got to come out and beat, hands down. They got to come out and just smash things, and then all of a sudden it'll surprise to the upside.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to have to be guidance is really what it's going to be about as far as Tesla's concerned. And one thing that I thought that was interesting, and this is something that Barron's put out today. It was an article that Barron's put out, and which is titled "Tesla should take a cue from Netflix, and that competition matters." And it basically goes on to talk about how Netflix hasn't really changed anything about their model, hasn't really pivoted or anything, and kind of didn't really take their competition seriously, because at the time they were so big, right? They were massive, and now it's a very crowded space as far as streaming is concerned. And when I was reading through the article, it kind of got me to thinking about the competition that is coming for Tesla. And we always talk about the big ones, the legacy companies, if you will, the Fords, the GMs, the Volkswagen. And I'm a big fan of Porsche EVs at this point, just kind of looking at them and the quality. And actually I test drove a Rivian about a week and a half ago, and the truck was amazing. It's a shit ton of fun. And so you have competition coming out, but the big one that I think a lot of people haven't thought about is BYD. They're slated to deliver 1.3 million EVs within the year, which is ahead of Tesla. They also have a $25,000 EV as well, and some of them are even cheaper. So I think that there is competition out there for Tesla, but it's coming from a place where people aren't really looking. Warren Buffett actually owns a shit ton of BYD. He's made like 500-600% on his investment that not a lot of people realize. And so I'm kind of curious as to like where this goes. Does Tesla actually follow the same type of path that Netflix does eventually, or is this something completely different?
No. Stop right there. No.
Appreciate that.
If you I've even tweeted this. Everyone right now. Hang on, I was typing in the chat. I just sold the 1050 calls against my. I have a 1,000 strike call. I just sold the 1050. So if it does blow up, that's still 5,000 per spread. But if it doesn't, I'll manage. I'll lock that in and maybe ride naked for the rest of the week, or the next week. Yeah. No, but it reminds me, if you guys have ever seen Iron Man 2, the Hammer Industries, just the clown that's always just running his mouth and just can't make a product worth of crap. Like, that's everyone else right now. Like, and even in court, it says, let's bring up a weapons specialist. And Tony Stark says, just let the record reflect. Let me know when an actual specialist comes in. Like, I'll worry about it when competition actually comes in. The only thing is Ford and Rivian do have a truck on the road. GM doesn't count, but Ford and Rivian do. And it's like Tesla announces their truck, and then two other companies now have one on the road. Not the coolest sign. Granted, the space wedge is probably a little more difficult to make. So there are those hurdles to come over, but I don't like seeing that. But the competition's not anywhere close. Tesla, it'd be like winning a drag race, but I'm in my C8, you're in a Ford Pinto, and I'm already halfway down the track, and then you start.
Right.
Like, and then someone says, "Oh, look, Brad left the line." Like, no one's worried about me losing the race. Like, right. It's not even a thing.
Right.
That's kind of how I feel about Tesla competition right now. Until it actually shows up, maybe Ford finds a way to dream up these batteries. They got someone back there whittling straw into some new battery cells, and they find a way to do it. But Tesla already thought about this years in advance, so they're getting into the mining. They've already locked down contracts, and as a company that makes the raw materials, of course I'm going to sign deal with Tesla,
right?
Because they got the money to pay me.
Yeah. So Jimmy, just stop blowing up the chat, bro. We get it. If you're not going to stop blowing up the chat, we're going to put you in timeout. So I don't know, man. I think that there's and I would imagine that Elon has already thought about this, but I imagine that there's going to be some sort of competition as things start to get a little bit more crowded. But I'm in your camp. At the end of the day, I think that Tesla still owns the biggest piece of the pie. But and by and large, Netflix still does too. right? So my I guess thoughts are, and I think it's an interesting conversation that's probably going to continue to be ongoing, is that you know, is there going to become a point to where Tesla could suffer the same type of fate as Netflix, in that it's just so far ahead of itself, and we know how much Tesla's pulled forward already. Like the forward PE is at a ridiculous number. It's in the 90s. So like there is a lot of this that's priced in. And so at what point is Tesla going to say, hey, you know what, things are, we're starting to become a value company and starting to be looked at as a Ford or GM, and then the growth slows and it just kind of stays as where it's at. And I think that, you know, it took a long time for Netflix to get there. It probably could take a long time for Netflix or for Tesla to get there, but yeah.
Tesla's too many things on the table. Like Ford and GM, they'll just make their vehicles. Tesla's already announcing like the Tesla bot. You know, they got Optimus, they got solar. Like once the cars are taken care of, it's just on to the next project.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like I get right now, Tesla is you know, there's the argument of it's not a car company. It technically is right now. That's its main focus. That's its drive. That's its revenue. We're not talking about anything else. Yeah. But eventually we will be.
Right.
Took a break from work for Tesla. What's up, Vinay?
So we have, so Jimmy, I did ask you to be here. I didn't ask you to drive me fucking crazy. Just take a chill pill, bro. We get it. You got to
be right. I better see Tesla at $700.
Yeah, because right now Tesla is moving up here after hours. We'll see where that goes. No word on this yet. It's too early. The market's officially closed though. It's 402, and the overall market, let's see here, closed mixed. So the S&P was down just 0.06%, basically flat. The Dow was up a big time today, up 249 points, 0.75%. The Nasdaq was down 1.25%. Oil was all over the place today too. WTI crude closed the day flat, literally flat. $102.56 is where oil's sitting right now, as far as WTI crude's concerned. And so we also have other earnings today as well. It's not just Tesla, even though obviously that's going to be our biggest concern. I'll go ahead and put the expectations on here as far as the other earnings. And we have United Airlines, their expected earnings per share is $4.21. The revenue is expected to be around $7.68 billion. And then we have Alcoa, the aluminum play, earnings per share $2.93 and $3.45 billion as well. We can take a look at those charts as we're waiting some of the numbers to come in. Alcoa, no real big move here just yet, but the daily chart on this is absolutely wild. I mean, just steady movement up. I mean, it was inevitable, especially with some of the supply chain issues that we were hearing about. And then it obviously had moved up considerably because of the Russia-Ukraine situation and how it impacted supply. But this has been following the 50-day moving average beautifully on the daily chart. It's been super organized. It's been a great stock to own. The other one's United Airlines. Obviously, we heard from Delta earlier last week, and this could potentially be starting to change direction. We'll have to wait and see what their earnings are like. Delta's the only one that's come out and said, hey, we're going to be profitable this year. We're going to have a profitable quarter, probably in the current quarter that they're in. And they talked about record numbers as far as demand's concerned over the last 5 weeks. Could United Airlines follow suit? We'll have to wait and see. Right now, it's still in that downtrend that we've been looking at for literally the last year and 1 month. So United Airlines certainly could see a pretty decent bounce. We'll just have to wait and see if it's going to follow the same type of trend that Delta laid out for us last week. All right. So those are your earnings numbers for the ones that are reporting today. We'll go back to the Tesla charts just so we can keep an eye on that.
It's up.
Okay.
I didn't want to say it yet, but I was going to wait. Yeah. I know the second I congrats to Jimmy and let him know, don't worry, there's always next earnings. You know, it'll be $700 every time I'm a dick. It's like I can jinx it just like that. So
yeah, especially with earnings, man, because like it goes up 5% and then it just tanks 5 minutes later. So I like to give it some time to play out. But yes, Tesla is now up about 3.5% here. Watch them come out and be like, no, I'm just kidding. I had calls too.
Yeah. By the way, yeah. By the way, I had to sell my Tesla shares to buy Twitter.
Looks like Tesla came in at $2.86 on earnings per share. That is a solid beat.
The important thing I need is it to be above 1050.
Right. That's so just to also add to this, they beat earnings per share. The estimate was at 226. Okay. They beat it pretty handily at 286. And looking to try to find revenue numbers here. As soon as I have those, I'll share those with you. So pretty solid beat. Stock's a little bit all over the place right now. It's pretty volatile. It was up over 3%, now up around 2%. Gross margins at 32.9%. That's up 28.4.
18.8 billion.
Is that yes. Revenue for the quarter came in at 18.8 billion versus a consensus of 17.8. Now remember, this isn't really much of a surprise. What I'm expecting and what I want to see is the outlook for this quarter that we're currently in, because that's the quarter that we saw some of the shutdowns in Shanghai and stuff like that. So are they going to be able to tell us that yes, everything's still good? We're going to expect growth to continue in this quarter despite some of the shutdowns and challenges we've had. That's what we really want to hear from Tesla right now.
Yeah. Want to hear they're back up. Everyone's out of their apartments now. Everyone's allowed out of their homes. Did you see those crazy videos in China?
Oh,
drones going around telling people to stay in their home.
Yeah, unbelievable.
That'd be target practice.
Yes,
they could never do it in the United States.
No.
That would end that drone and that little dog robot. They wouldn't be enough.
So if you guys are just tuning in, Tesla did end up beating earnings. They came in at $2.86 per share. That is a massive beat, by the way. As far as earnings are concerned, really, really big beat on earnings. They also beat revenue by about $500 million. They came in at $18.8 billion in revenue. The expectation there for Tesla was at 17.8. So pretty solid beat there on revenue as well. If you guys are just tuning in, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell and the like on your way in the door. I certainly would appreciate it if you guys are interested in more reactions, not just to Tesla, but all earnings. This is your channel. I react to all earnings that come out all of the time. And so this is obviously a very exciting time for the channel. Love this time of the year. And if you want to see more of this, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. We got about almost 300 of you guys hanging in here. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate the support.
Let's show Jimmy where he should close his puts. It's above this little yellow box. Can you show my screen one more time?
Yes.
Jimmy, this is where your puts get wrecked. If we get above that 1035 mark. I don't see in the chat right now. But don't worry.
Yeah.
Good things come. It'll happen. You just keep on charging away. I'm sure it's overvalued. Forward PE, all the cool things. As I say, it starts dropping. See, this is why I can't talk online.
So yeah, the stock was up around 4%, pulling back a little bit here. Did touch all the way up to 1023. Still waiting for the guidance numbers to come in. I don't have too much on them just yet, but just to let you guys know, if you're just rolling in here, Tesla did beat earnings. They came in at there's some numbers. Some people are saying adjusted earnings are at $3.22, but 286 is what I'm seeing, and the expectation was 226. 18.8 billion versus the consensus of 17.8. So I'm seeing some conflicting numbers here as far as earnings per share are concerned. I am seeing 322 in a couple of spots too.
So supply chain issues to continue through 2022.
Yeah. They've been saying that for a year now, and they continue to smash expectations. Let's see here.
Well, Jimmy, if you actually did that, it's weird because comments usually come out after the move. I like to talk about it before. That's why I made it Adam to tell everybody what I did. But he said he sold 80% of his puts, holding 20. If that's the case. That's rocking. I can agree with that comment a lot.
Tesla's still moving up here, looking pretty good. Now it's up over 4%. If Jimmy would have said that he was selling before the close, I probably would have taken a little bit more seriously, but he did not. And now he's just telling us he did.
Let's go, Tesla. Above the 1035 mark. And then we need to hold above there into tomorrow's open.
Yes. So stock's still moving up pretty good here. It's up now 5% after hours. Again, if you guys are just tuning in, they did end up beating earnings expectations as well as revenue. Looking to see, it looks like it is $3.22 per share was the actual beat, non-GAAP number here. The expectation was 226, so they smashed earnings. I mean, it's not even close.
Looks like the market doesn't even care. Nothing else is pushing up after hours.
They absolutely smashed earnings. I'm still trying to find to see if there's going to be guidance here. There is some talk about Elon potentially being there during the conference call today, which is at 5:30. We will not be live. Are you going to be live on your channel during that conference call?
I can. Should I?
If you're available, I'm sure people would love that. So guys, if you want to go follow Don over at the Don Fran Show, his channel, he'll be covering the conference call, which airs at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. So that'll be in about an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'll go after that.
So let's see here. I am looking at. I wonder if Elon's going to talk about Twitter at all during that conference.
Is Elon going to be on this conference call?
So there was rumors that he is, because he had responded to somebody on Twitter saying that he was going to be there during the conference call.
Because it's 420.
I guess. I guess. Okay, so there are other earnings here. So we'll come right back to Tesla as well. I'm just going to check in on Alcoa real quick. That stock is now down 3.5%. Go ahead and find out those numbers for you right now. There's also United Airlines. We'll see if those are out. Alcoa beat earnings per share $3.06 compared to the $2.97 estimate. Sales, they missed $3.29 billion versus the 3.44 was the estimate. They actually missed on revenue, but they did beat on earnings per share. I think that this is a pretty strong report regardless. I mean, those earnings were pretty good. I would imagine that it probably has a lot to do with the fact that there was they were able to obviously pass this price on. I mean, it's an aluminum play. The company's been doing extremely well. I think this is probably going to do well throughout the rest of the year. But those are your numbers for Alcoa. The stock's reacting poorly here. It's now down 5.5%. There's got to be something else in that report that's got people not liking it right now. So there you have it with Alcoa. They came in and beat earnings, but then also missed on revenue. And then there's United Airlines. Let's see if they have anything out right now. Doesn't look like there's anything out on United Airlines at the moment.
They're probably selling so they could buy more Tesla. That's the only thing I could think of.
Right. You're probably right.
If I had to put logic to any of this, it's because they wanted more Tesla. If Alcoa breaks 82 and holds below that, that might be a floor they don't want broken.
Yeah. I mean, listen, with Alcoa, though, like I said, I think that probably is going to be a dip opportunity. The materials are just still absolutely on fire, and they're still crazy undervalued. We'll hear from Cleveland Cliffs on Friday morning, and so I'm actually kind of interested to hear what Cleveland Cliffs has to say as far as their earnings are concerned too.
Did Carvana have earnings today?
Carvana, they might have had earnings today. Let me see. Yes, they did have earnings. Let me see if I can pull up those. Yeah, I only covered the big ones that I thought that people would be interested in, but we can take a look. If you guys are interested in some of the other ones, we certainly can take a look. Stock's down 15.5%. This doesn't really come as much of a surprise. We heard from CarMax a couple weeks ago, and used car sales are coming down, and we've seen that. And I think that's one big reason why I think that we could have seen those CPI numbers in March. That could be the peak. That was used car sales were such a huge part of CPI over the last year, essentially. And now that used car sales are coming down, I think that we could see that peak certainly continue into April. We'll have to see, obviously, in the beginning of May what that looks like. But Carvana seems to be following along the same type of line that CarMax was.
I'd be short this to $40.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
That just broke a major level for me. There's the $100 psychological level. There's the I had a weekly zone, which if you guys aren't familiar with, that might not make much sense to you. That's how I trade, more price action, supply and demand stuff. Breaking that, not the coolest story. And there's really not much in the way until $40, 40 to 30.
So total gross profit was $298 million, which is a decrease of 12%, according to Carvana's report here. Total gross profit per unit was $2,800. Which is a decrease of $823 per unit. That is a massive decrease. Damn.
Is car lots a buy here, pay here?
Car lots is more of like a leasing company, like fleet vehicles and stuff like that.
Maybe they should try the buy here, pay here because their ticker's $1.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know it was that cheap.
So Carvana, thanks, Raylan. Carvana came in a loss of 289, missed the loss of 142. We all know that in this environment, that the stocks that are reporting for losses don't do well, and Carvana is certainly missing even more so than the expectation as far as the loss is concerned, and so obviously getting punished here.
You want to bring up the wild man's question? Can you do that? I can answer it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bring up on string. This is what exactly makes the stock move up so drastically in 1 second after earnings announced. You see this a lot with anytime there's a report or anything like that, and there's algorithms that will actually scan keywords. So there are huge buyers coming in and buying that. They are taking advantage of that. And then just everybody else with any kind of FOMO pushing it up. It's because the whole thing that moves the stock market is buyers and sellers. Wherever there's more buyers, it goes up, more sellers, it goes down. Those algorithms, they have their own capital they're managing, and they will scan the keywords, they'll scan the headlines, and then place that trade on there.
Yeah.
So that's the crazy up and down you see.
Great answer and great question. And that's why the overall market actually ended up making a move. Well, you can make the argument that that's why the market overall moved down yesterday on those Netflix earnings because of that type of because of what Don was actually explaining. Checking back in with Tesla. If you guys missed the numbers here, they came in and beat the adjusted earnings per share is $3.22. The expectation was $2.26. So obviously a big handle. They beat handily expected earnings per share. They also beat revenue by $500 million. And then and so we're still waiting on guidance. I'm still trying to find those guidance numbers on Tesla. Don't have them just yet. I'm going to continue to try to pull those up, but the stock is obviously moving pretty well, almost up 5% here after hours.
Yeah, I can keep that up.
What do you say? 1035?
Yeah, 1035. That's above that zone. The expected move puts it right at 1060. So we get above that. Here comes the volatility. Anything above 1060 today or this week. So let's say we get the continuation tomorrow. Anything above that, I would say watch your P's and Q's. Be careful for your swings because just the likelihood they rein it back in and snap it back to that level.
Yeah.
Anything above that, as much as I'm bullish, I might be selling calls or something along those nature, just to bring it back into the expected move area.
Yeah.
But yeah, 1035 is the zone. Market makers, they'll start delta hedging. It gets crazy above 1060. So do they want to do their job or not?
Right.
So
good stuff, man. What's up, Blade Runner? I see Blade Runner in the house. How's it going, my man? We got SEI Investments. Raylan always likes to put out the smaller ones too. I really appreciate this, Raylan. She's got my back. We got SEI Investments. The Q1 earnings per share, $1.36. They beat the 131 estimate. Let's take a look at SEI Investments real quick. All right. Stock isn't really moving all that much, but they ended up $1.36. They beat the $1.31 estimate. Sales came in at 581. 546 was the estimate. So they actually smashed those expectations as well. We got Landstar Systems, $3.34. They beat the 301 estimate. This is great news, bro. I mean, there was so much negativity around earnings and that people were expecting the worst. And it seems as if the way that these earnings are coming in, they're pretty damn good. I mean, with the exception of Netflix, which we knew was going to be bad, it was like this last quarter, right? Like Netflix shit the bed, and then all the other earnings were really good. And I think that we're going to see a repeat of this. I mean, there's no question that the consumer is extremely strong. They still have a lot of money on the sidelines, and it's being proven here in the earnings as well. Despite some of the inflation talk and the Fed doing what they're going to do, it's good to see some of these earnings are beating pretty handily.
Yeah. What's your forecast on Tesla price on opening bell tomorrow? So I'm flying in the morning. Don't want to miss out on the gains. Oh, man.
That's a good question.
We got to make it to the bell tomorrow.
Yeah, the stock is pulling back here a little bit. It was up around 5%, now up around 3%, sitting at $1,006 after closing the day at $977. And so as far as my expectations, I think it really just kind of has to depend on what is said during the conference call. As Don pointed out at the top of the show, when earnings come out, it's rare that Tesla actually moves all that much because the expectations are so high for Tesla, and then they come in and crush it like this, and the stock doesn't hardly move at all. So I'll actually be surprised. I think that you see much stronger moves when deliveries come out, when the delivery numbers come out, which this time around, what was it, a month ago they announced it was at 310,000. Yeah, 310,000 deliveries. About 90% of that was made up of Tesla Model Ys and Model 3s. What I would really like to hear, and I think this could actually get the stock moving in pretty violent fashion to the upside, is if they said, "Hey, guess what? Cybertrucks are coming out next month or this quarter." Something along those. The semi news, if they talk about semis or full self-driving, if they give us something, the stock is going to move. If they don't give us anything, it's probably going to stay exactly where it's at.
I think we already know everything about full self-driving. Over 100,000 people have it. Elon thinks this might be the year it comes out, which I gotta agree. Maybe it might be the year. This is the first time I saw a commercial. Congress hates full self-driving. There's a full-blown commercial I saw on TV, and it's all like the YouTube clips of full self-driving where it hits a cone or something like that, or like it veers off, and they put them all together, and it says something like, "This is completely crazy. There's no way. Elon needs to be stopped. Call Congress and tell them to put a stop to this now."
Oh my
God. What is this? If Congress is worried, now I like it. Like, now do I need to be buying it, or like, are they looking for cheap? I don't trust a single person in Congress, so I'm trying to figure out, what are they doing? Do they want cheap calls? Is that what they're trying to get, or what's the angle here?
You've seen the performance from Congress, right? Congress men and women about outperforming the S&P.
Yeah. Pelosi is the trader Kathy wants to be.
It's her and Dan Crenshaw, I think, was one of the highest performers in the Congress too. And it's so crazy how much they outperform. Like, it's not even close. Like, they blow the S&P out of the water.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
I don't understand. If you're trading, why does anybody worry about the S&P? Why is that always a metric?
Well, because it's a conglomerate. It's the top 500 stocks in the market.
Yeah, if you're playing in and out game, why would you ever even be close to that?
Well, I mean, it depends on how good you are. Hedge funds are not good at it.
Why wouldn't they just buy SPY then? That's the one question I'll never get.
That is a great question.
I'd rather just not work and just buy SPY and call it good.
Right.
Call it a day. How is Pelosi doing? Has anybody tracked her trades lately?
Yeah. So there's a Twitter account, Unusual Whales, and he tracks all that. And she's killing it. Pelosi, Dan Crenshaw, doesn't matter what side of the aisle they're on, they're all killing it.
Yeah. I remember when Google allowed her to get out of her calls when they announced a split 6 months in advance.
I know.
When she was down. That's the kind of power I need to have.
Yeah, right. Joseph says, bullish on Tesla, but not at this price. It'll be tough to maintain such a high PE in this environment. Yes and no. I mean, so Joseph, I'm definitely with you, and I've made mention about this multiple times before. Like, Tesla's forward PE is at 92 times next year's earnings, which is absolutely insane. However, there's exceptions to the rule, right? I mean, Tesla, of course, is right now a car company. Yes, they have other things in the works, but none of that's making them any money, and in fact, it's losing money for them. They actually stopped, I believe, the solar panel production for now. Until they kind of got things sorted out as far as supply is concerned. Maybe we'll hear something about that in Elon's call. But I think right now, Tesla still has a lot of room to grow. And when you have, and look, to be fair, it's going to have to do a lot to grow into that valuation. Like, I'm not oblivious to that. But I think that if they can continue to take up this much market share, or this amount of market share, 80% of EVs on the road right now are Teslas. And so I think that they have such an advantage right now that's why people want to be in. And I don't think that the valuation is going to matter a whole lot. The other side of this is, if the valuation was so high, but they weren't reporting profits, that would be a whole different story. And we've seen that from a lot of the other companies that are reporting for losses that have these high valuations are getting absolutely murdered. Tesla's in a bit of a different camp than this. Another good example or a comparison to something like Tesla right now, and I'm just going off of PE. I'm not saying that this is the same company, but it's CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike also has a ridiculously high PE. That's sitting at around, that's actually higher than Tesla's. Yeah, 202 times next year's earnings. This is a daily chart on this. And it's absolutely wild. But why are people buying this? Well, it's because of obvious reasons regarding cybersecurity and cyber warfare, that tons of threats have come in from Russia. And we've seen Russia already carry out cyber attacks as well. So CrowdStrike's probably going to stay here and remain here because of the growth potential for CrowdStrike. I'm not comparing it to Tesla. All I'm trying to point out is that sometimes valuation, sometimes PE doesn't always matter. It is a metric that certainly should be looked at, but it isn't the end all be all. And I think that that's the argument for Tesla as well, because they have so many other things going on, and the market's looking at this from a forward facing view. They're looking, years down the line. Does it make sense to own Tesla up here? And some can argue yes, some can argue no, but that's kind of my thoughts, or the answer to that comment.
Yeah, and I guess the way to even go about that is, what price would you buy it at? What if it never gets to that? You're just never going to own it. What is it's time? What are you looking for to make that decision?
Yeah.
If you check all those boxes, then it sounds like you got a plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And nobody says you have to own Tesla.
Yeah.
There's plenty of other stocks out there.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go about shorting it. We saw how well that worked for, what's the clown's name? Michael Burry. The guy's never right. The guy's predicted World War III a million times. He's got like a 90% failure rate.
Yeah, he said Tesla was going to suffer the same fate as Netflix.
Yeah, imagine listening to that and actually thinking that's right.
You get it right one time. You got the 2008 crisis right one time, and got a movie made out.
He got close. He was actually very early on that, and then everyone's like, "Oh, Michael got it."
Right.
Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But then that's it. Like, imagine still listening to that guy.
I know.
I don't know. I like to look at everything as a whole. And if you tell me you're wrong 90% of the time, I'm not taking any leaps of faith that you're right this one time.
Right.
On anything.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for today's show. Thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. There's a lot of you guys that have shown up this afternoon. If you wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up on your way out the door, I certainly would appreciate it. We're going to be back tomorrow as well. We're going to react to earnings tomorrow, and that's going to be tons of fun. Let me pull up the earnings that we're going to be looking at tomorrow. I know Snap is on the docket here. We also have, let's see.
The market mover Snap.
What's that?
Is it the market mover Snapchat?
Oh, yeah, yes. Well, so yeah, this actually is going to be interesting. So it's not a market mover necessarily, but it's a industry mover. So Snap usually sets the tone generally for all the other social media platforms. If Snap comes in and does well, we probably could see some positive reactions from Facebook, Twitter, and the like. And that's usually how that happens. Pinterest as well. So Snap's reporting tomorrow. There's also some pretty interesting ones in the morning. We got American Airlines, AT&T, Nucor, Union Pacific, which you guys heard me talk about on Monday that I was a really big fan of, the transports in general. We also have tomorrow afternoon, which we'll be reacting to live, as I mentioned before, Snap. We have PPG, Boston Beer Company, 4-Star, Bank OZ, Alpine. And there's Cleveland Cliffs on Friday morning as well. I'm going to give you my thoughts on those tomorrow, so make sure you're tuning in. Cleveland Cliffs, Verizon, Schlumberger, American Express, which I'm super pumped for. Kimberly Clark, a couple other ones as well. So, guys, you want to see some more content revolving around those, please make sure to tune in, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And then finally, make sure you hit the join button next to subscribe to get access to my daily watch list that I put out every single morning. We're crushing it lately. I'm feeling pretty confident in it. $4.99 a month. You can't beat it. And so certainly would appreciate the support there as well. Don, thanks for tuning in this afternoon, man. I really appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Let everybody know where they can find you and where we're continuing the action for Tesla next.
Right now, I guess on my channel, Don Francho. I gotta go find the earnings call and then stream that because it's now, right? In a couple minutes.
5:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh, okay. So I got an hour. Sweet.
Yeah.
So in an hour on my channel, come find me.
There you go. So go follow Don at the Don Franz Show on YouTube. You can follow him on Twitter too. We're trying to get him a little bit more active out there.
I'll tweet more if everybody shows up. Right now.
All right. That's it, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one.